All right, hello and welcome everyone to another day of Counter-Strike. Every day is a day of Counter-Strike here in 2016. There's definitely been a lot of action to watch, but you're about to tune in to, let's point at it, it's that way, CEVO GFINITY Pro League CSGO Season 9 with the finals in London. Pretty excited about that, and also excited to be back on Twitch, as some of you might have noted here on this new channel, twitch.tv. Actually, the old channel, we've dusted the cobwebs off, twitch.tv/playcevo. So make sure to give that a follow if you want to be up to date with all the pro placement tournament that we have going on today. And in just about a week, we'll be starting, of course, the actual Pro League Season 9. I'm Helium, and joining me is Dust. What's going on?
Not much, dude. Pretty cool. Obviously kicking off a new season of Pro League as we're partnering with GFINITY, of course. Got that $125,000 event that's going to take place at I guess, what is that, the beginning of April or something like that? And it's going to be, of course,
The
in London
end
in
of
the
April.
GFINITY Arena. And we're just kind of starting the beginning stages there, right? This is the placement tournament. Today, though, we actually do get to find out some of our teams who will be in Pro League because, of course, this is the upper bracket finals. So the winner of this does get a guaranteed spot in that first bracket for Pro League. And so, of course, we have EU. We got ENCE taking on Cringe Gods to determine things over in EU. And then, of course, we have some matches going on later on today over in North America. Where we will have, I think it's Vault versus Bees Money Crew. Those guys are going to be
Correct.
fighting for a Pro League spot as well for NA later on this evening. So that's kind of cool that we actually have gotten to a point in the placement tournament where we're starting to crank out winners that are going to be in Pro League.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the brackets in a second, but the veto process has started here in our first series of the
Okay.
day. ENCE taking out Overpass as they always do. It's the one map they don't play, and I believe the reason was that Alu just doesn't like it. And Cringe Gods or CG taking out Cobble. And as for
Yeah.
those maps, that's one that they don't play. Dust 2, Cash, Mirage, and Overpass is what Cringe Gods has been playing most recently.
Yes, I mean the thing is both these teams are kind of banning like right in line with their history in this tournament on what they've been getting rid of, and like I guess either fortunately, unfortunately, however, whatever perspective you want to take, it kind of cancels out the other teams like big map. Like ENCE, one of their big maps has in fact been Cobble throughout this tournament, and one of CG's big maps has been Overpass. So I mean both teams, I guess, best record maps are already out. Both these teams do like playing Mirage, so I can definitely see one of these two teams picking that. I'm not sure which one would do it. And then other than that, maybe Dust 2 could certainly be played as well. That's another map that both these teams seem to not mind playing. So if I had to guess, I think that's the two picks we'll see. Like one will pick D2, one will pick Mirage, and then we'll go from there. But no, CG actually picks Cash, which is another map they have won once in this tournament. But again, with CG, it's kind of hard to read, right? Because the only thing we've really seen out of them was the minor, of course, at PGO, where they kind of shocked everyone, beating Hellraisers to qualify and, putting up a good fight against Penta, beating LDLC White, even looking formidable against EFrag. Of course, they didn't qualify through that tournament. Then they swapped two players out, coming into this thing. So not a whole lot of data on those guys to go off of, but they decide that Cash is kind of their comfort zone, and ENCE will take D2, and Train will be our third map if needed.
I think that makes a lot of sense. ENCE has shown that they're very, very strong on Dust 2, and it was left in the pool, so there's nothing that CG could really do about it. The Cache is that one other map that they play that ENCE maybe avoids a little bit more than the others, so they should have a better chance. And we know, like, the Swedish, right? They are just raw aimers a lot of the times. Cache will be a good map for that. Dust 2 is going to be tough based on what we've seen from ENCE throughout this tournament. They did take one surprising loss to Penta on Dust 2, which really didn't make a lot of sense. That was the first map in the best of three. ENCE then crushed on the next two. So that one was maybe a little suspect. And then Train coming up as the third map. ENCE has 2 games recorded on Train on HLTV. I'm not sure what they've hit already in this tournament, but we'll be able to check on that in just a second. Let me put up the team head-to-heads, and we can see some of the results of these teams so far in this tournament. And okay, they have played Train, and they won. It looks like they've most likely played it once. They got 10 rounds on the CT side and 6
Yeah, that was
rounds
against
on
Torpedo.
the T side.
We
Yeah,
tested
that's right.
that.
They did play it against Torpedo. And a very strong T side thus far on Dust 2 in the tournament. And the same thing goes for CG on their map pick of Cash. But I think, like you said, they've only played it once, winning 12 on the CT side, or 12 on the T side, 4 on the CT
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, and when you look at kind of the path that these two teams have taken to get here, I mean, ENCE has probably had a slightly tougher road. Like they actually had to take on Team YP in the first round, which is a team that, of course, caught some attention because they did qualify for the major main qualifiers that take place at the end of this month, just actually a couple of weeks from now. And they 2-1 that series. A loss was on Cash actually there. But they did win pretty big on Dust 2 and Cobble, which of course we will see D2. They then went on to play against Quack Pack, who I actually don't really know who that is. I think it's like kind of some like second tier Swedish players or something like that, like kind of a mixed team.
I think Kaboom is on that team,
Uh,
so there's some
got
some notable players, but yeah.
Right. They won Cash actually in that series, and then of course they beat Torpedo, which were on mats we're going to see in this series. For CG, they kind of, like I said, had just kind of a journey that wasn't as difficult in my opinion. Like they played a couple of teams that I hadn't really heard of, like Beast, this new UK team coming up, and some team called Nevermind. They did play Din DD, which is a team we have seen a little bit of. They were in fact at the minor as well, but didn't qualify. And that was kind of, I guess, a 2-0 series for CJ that looked pretty nice, but again, not on any mats we'll see today. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of a rundown of how these two teams got here. And again, this is the upper bracket final, so the winner does get a Pro League spot out of this. And based on the picks that we're seeing, I mean, I'm not surprised. I think the graphic kind of tells the story. CG is probably a little bit favored on Cash. It is their pick, and they've had a little bit better results on it in this tournament. But Dust 2 certainly is a map we've seen ENCE be quite good on. It's kind of one of the maps that they've had the most success on, though the results in general have been pretty mixed, right? So it's kind of hard to read them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Overall, I think I mean, CG having made some of those roster changes so that they could communicate a little bit better might. I mean, I guess you could argue that they'd have better chemistry now that they can all fully understand each other if that was truly the reason for the changes. But I think with the new 5, maybe everything won't be firing on all cylinders, and I think I'd have to favor ENCE, especially on Dust 2. I like they certainly take it in 3 maps. Maybe CG gets trained. ENCE have been pretty slow to start on a couple of the days that we've seen them throughout the last
Right.
chance qualifiers and even in these pro placement tournaments for the CEVO GFINITY Season 9. Like they lost that game to Penta on Dust 2, which was a big shock. So I'm going to have to lean towards ENCE.
Yeah,
And I want to see
definitely.
double ops.
I mean, the one thing that CG, like, I guess has going in their favor a little bit is out of the 3 players they retained from the PGL minor, 2 of those players were kind of some of the best performers on the team, which was Rez as a rifler and then Draken, who's their opper. So at least they've retained, I guess, the majority of their firepower, though I would say that they did also kind of lose a little bit of firepower, right? I think a guy like Zen was actually someone who looked pretty good throughout their online play and even looked pretty decent at times at the minor statistically. So yeah, I mean, I guess the point is they still retain a lot of their fragging power, and again, that maybe they help their team chemistry and communication and things like that. But when it really boils down to it all, ENCE is certainly the more experienced team. I mean, 4 of these guys on this team, the 4 outside of Alu have played together a lot on and off throughout the years of CS:GO on different Finnish teams, and obviously Alu has a lot of experience internationally with Mouse Sports and NIP and a very talented guy. So you would think just off of pure like talent and experience, it should be ENCE. But I think there is a possibility they could drop Cash, if it's not a map they play a whole lot. But Dust 2 and Train, I would think ENCE would be able to take those.
So we're definitely in agreement there. And as you were kind of going over the rosters a little bit, let's take a look at them here, just breaking down the numbers thus far in this pro placement tournament. 3 wins. That's actually series wins, so it's anywhere from 6 to 9 maps. And I think in ENCE case, it's probably going to be like 8 maps. Only one of their series won 3, I believe.
Yep.
Yuho has definitely been the standout player. The man is insane when you get him on the T side. His entry fragging potential on Dust 2 is absolutely through the roof, and it's above average on all the other maps as well. And that's why he has all the gold stars. And,
Yep.
we went to kindergarten. We like gold stars. Sonny, he has been more inconsistent in that role, but so far here in this pro placement tournament, he's been quite good. He's got a lot of triple kill rounds. Stonda's been the main op. He's done all right. Similar numbers to Alu, who is rifling, kind of playing a solo role a little bit more on this team, but will often pick up the double ops on the CT
Yep.
side. And then Zart is just that support player, so his numbers are down there at the bottom.
Yeah, Yuho's definitely been a guy that's definitely stuck out for me watching this tournament, especially on a map like Dusty, which we'll see today. He's kind of like their long A kind of anchor player on the CT side. Does a pretty good job of holding that down. And he's one of their entry fraggers as well, taking initial duels up catwalk and middle and things like that. And he's been pretty successful in that role. So if Yuho can get going, then I'll certainly help out ENCE's T sides. Yeah, I mean, I think the other two storylines are ones that you kind of mentioned is Sonny's inconsistency. We've seen it has some really good games. We've also seen him look off at times. And when it comes to Alu, again, he just doesn't look the same on this team so far. I think he's still trying to find his place here. You know, he's definitely had to change up his roles from what he was doing within IP and Mouse Sports to kind of, I guess, better suit the rest of the team. I mean, obviously, Alu would have his most impact as the main opera for this team, and he is a top tier international caliber player with the op in his hands. But you know, when you have a guy like Stond on your team, and that's going to be his highest impact, is going to be when he has an op in his hands. You know, some sacrifices have to be made, and Alu is a talented enough player to make adjustments and be a bit more versatile and take on some other positions as needed to make the team operate at its, you know, optimal level, I guess you could say. But yeah, it is certainly true that Alu hasn't quite looked himself. But I would say in the last series we watched against Torpedo, he looked a bit better. You know, he seemed to be putting up some numbers that we would expect from him compared to earlier in the tournament where we've seen the struggle just a little bit. So yeah, we'll just have to see how this team develops. Obviously, they're also a pretty young team, not as young as CG, but together as a five, they've only been together for like a month or so. So there's still a lot that needs to be worked through.
Yeah, and then I'll put up CG's roster to see who's been carrying the team. You mentioned Draken the Opper. Seems like he's got most of the stars, and I built the CG had this roster the entire time since this has started.
Right.
So Doplin, as I mean, that's a name that the community definitely knows, has been also playing quite well.
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. I don't know a whole lot about this team other than kind of seeing what they did qualifying for the minor and the actual minor itself. And again, Draken or Draken was kind of the guy who stuck out for me. But also, Rez was pretty good for them also, and I mean the numbers that we're seeing from this tournament seem to pretty much line up with that from how they were competing at the minors. So, seem to be pretty consistently holding their ranks on the team. The two new guys, Freddie B and Disco Doplin, so far this tournament have done what they needed to do. You know, they've competed well. In fact, they even have some of the higher ADR stats on the team, as well as having, you know, positive KD just like everyone else. So it seems like so far they fit right in. But this is kind of their biggest test in the tournament. We've kind of talked about how their journey through the upper bracket, they didn't really face as strong a competition. You know, they were playing against kind of lesser known teams, so to speak. Whereas ENCE actually did have to play against like a team YP and stuff to get where they are.
Yeah.
So this is this new five for CG. This is, I think, their first real big test online is against this ENCE lineup.
Yeah, and I know a little bit about Freddie B. I cast him a couple times throughout the European season of CEVO Main near the end there after Pro League had
Okay.
finished. He played for Aftermatch, and they actually made it to the semifinals where they had to play against Vexed, which of course is that team that had qualified for Cluj.
Right.
So they were pretty hot. It was weird to see them in Maine after making such a big accomplishment on the global scene. That's where Aftermatch they actually did take one map off of them, but Vexed won 2-0, and Freddie B was a pretty standout player for that team, which is again just another one of these Swedish stacks of five. And they were pretty good, so excited to see Freddie B again and actually get a first-hand experience casting what is now the Cringe Gods in their new all-Swedish five.
Yeah, I mean, the story of Cringe Gods is, I guess, somewhat promising yet somewhat disappointing at the same time. I think a lot of people were kind of hoping they would stick together because the five that they had originally had done so much. They had come out of, I mean, obscurity, really. No one knew anything about these guys. I think they were friends who, like, met each other playing FPL and stuff like that. And they just kind of put a team together and kind of an off chance that maybe they could make something happen in the PGL qualifiers. And they made it work. They beat Hellraisers. They got to the LAN. Once they were at the LAN, they were competitive against teams like Penta and against EFrag. I mean, yeah, they didn't make it out, but at least they had put up respectable scores and, you know, didn't get embarrassed or anything on LAN. They'd seen the transition quite well to that environment. But they decided to kind of go their separate ways a little bit. But there still is a lot of the core members of CG still, you know, present. And we'll just have to see what they can kind of do with this new five. Again, I think this is a big test for them. They're up against a team that is probably going to be eventually considered kind of a top 15, top 20 team in the world. And CG is going to see if they can't go toe to toe with them. in this series. But I guess we can start getting towards predictions now, since I think we're not too far off from starting. I think we already kind of expressed we thought ENCE was going to win, but I mean, are you feeling CG will get any maps in this series, or are you going to go
Well,
like
I mean, we did
2-0?
kind of already glance over our thoughts of what the
Oh,
predictions
okay.
might be of how it's believable that Cringe Guys would be able to get cash here because ENCE
Hmm.
have shown up a little bit inconsistent so far in this tournament. They've been very good. I even said the other day ENCE has been good. I'm going to predict that they'll dominate their next series and they'll probably lose. So I'm just put that on the record. But I would say ENCE 2-0. Even
Okay.
on cash. They'll definitely win Dust 2. If
Yeah.
CG Cringe Gods were to get a map, it would certainly be cash. But I'm not hedging my bets. I'm saying 2-0 to ENCE.
Yeah. I probably have to agree with that, though. I guess I am holding out a little bit for ZG. I am hoping that maybe they can show us a little bit of something here on cash. I mean, it was their map pick after all, and it's not necessarily a map we've seen ENCE play a whole lot, which means it's kind of a mystery how good they are on it. You know, maybe they're not bad. They just haven't really chosen to play it because they prefer other maps. But when it comes to CG, you know, I'm just hoping that cash will be one they pull through. I mean, Dust 2 was a map that they were able to beat Hellraisers on whenever they qualified for the minor, so they have some fluency on that map, I suppose. But I think ENCE is just a little bit better, like I said, when it comes to talent and overall experience. So we're gonna have to give them the nod here.
All right, well, here we are in a game on the pistol round. The map is cash. It will be ENCE starting on the CT side first, and that is ENCE consisting of Zart, Sunny, Alu, Standa, and Yuho. CG 4 into the squeaky, and it's just Doplin with a flash out of A main. Everyone is pushing into this. Inside of the smoke is Sunny, maybe about to make the big plays. Sight is taken over, but as it is so common,
so smart.
playing retake, and yeah, Sunny very passive. Oh, where's his bullets going? Did someone forget to load that CZ? Zart, though, coming in, will be able to get the assist, and also retake on through squeaky. Zart peeks out, is very, very blind. Freddy B going to stop him from running up. He maintains control of quad. Alu going up on top of the site. Hits the jump over onto the quad box. Freddy B will fall. And I don't know what happened with Sunny, but they win the round anyways.
It looked good. I mean, he played that.
He made the
perfect.
play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he maneuvered himself the exact way he needed to. I mean, it was kind of like two hard counters to each other with CG, you know, rushing A through door against one player because it was a B stack from ENCE, but ENCE was also doing a 3-man push through lobby to get a quick flank. So it was all going to be a battle of timings, like how fast could the flank set in, you know, how much would CG get held up in the site planning, trying to clear it out, make sure that that no one was hiding around. And Sunny made the appropriate play. He pushed through the smoke. He stayed alive to kind of further let that rotate set in, but he just couldn't hit any shots. Luckily, his team picked up the slack and they still win the round. But it was a bomb plant for CG, so they will of course take the economical approach to it. They'll just have the P250s here, no armor, no utility, and they'll look to buy in the next round. But what will they do here? It seems like an A rush is just going to be the answer. I mean, they're just going to gather up and just try to plow out and see what they can do, which again, they're only up against one real opponent. Alu is kind of floating around, so maybe if they can catch him rotating, they might be able to get past Yuho and get another plan out of this.
Well, Yuho with that UMP playing here seems to be his submission gun of choice from everything that we've seen. Playing A main, wants to go peek in. Actually, Rez spotted him. I don't think Yuho even saw the elbow, but great control there. 2 headshots now from behind. Makin will move out. Does get 1 kill, and if the bomb goes down again, that's actually really bad, and it does. Well, really bad if you're ENCE, quite good if you're CG. They didn't put really anything into this round, just a couple upgraded pistols. Bomb will be defused, and CG will lose the round, but they've got to be pretty happy with what they accomplished there.
Yeah, I mean, the whole goal was just to get the bomb planted, and I can't remember who it was. Was the first guy who Alu killed who just swung wide and kept Alu's attention? Because Alu was pushing in to stop the plant. I mean, the guy just kind of went out as bait to allow Alu a free kill, but to also give more time for the bomb to get secured on the site. So that was a really smart play to just kind of throw your body out there. Yeah, you're going to die, but you're going to get the benefit of having the bomb plant and getting that extra cash. So it was totally worth it. And now CG will have a nice, healthy buy here. Whereas ENCE, you know, on a FAMAS, on a scout, so a little bit lesser firepower, I guess you could say. And we'll see what CG wants to do. Seems like they're opening pretty default right now. Not really showing us anything just yet other than just kind of spreading out, watching the counter boost at middle, and just seeing if ENCE could give him anything for free.
All right, well, window broken. Zart. Was that nade going to do how much? Oh, wow. pretty sizable amount of damage onto
Yeah.
Freddie B, who was waiting out in the sunroom, trying to get his tan on. Instead, a grenade fell on his head. Rez has also taken some early damage, so not a lot of information gained, but already ENCE kind of winning the earlier part of the round, having dealt that damage. You can see Rez waiting up on the boost. They're going to send Draken up there as well. No ops coming out yet, as it is very early on. Still a scout onto Stonda. See what he can do with that. Mid is being left just to Sunny right now, and he might have to back off. They've got 3 people out mid already, and Sunny doesn't know this. He's going to have to peek, look for some information. Hasn't seen anything yet. Now he spotted Doplin and will be able to live and fight another day. So he backs off. 3 players in A right now for ENCE.
Yeah, good late mid control here from CG, and that gives them a lot of options, but it seems like they want to quickly split into B. Now, Zart and Stonda are sitting inside the site. One playing the headshot angle, but that fire is going to flush him out, but he'll get into the site safely, and now the rotate can start. Alu's already moving his way over. US pressed A main, and we are seeing that Stonda got 1 kill, so it's kind of slow. Oh, what? Oh, I thought that was a 2-for-1 jump scout, but it was actually just Alu coming in with another kill. But still, Stonda got 4 kills on the round with the scout inside the site. That is pretty insane. Wow.
So go figure, it's the scout that gets it done there on the first rifle. Now that thing turns into an even more potent weapon in the form of the AWP. AK up for Zart, so that's going to be nice. And CG are back to broke. They've got some upgraded pistols, even armor and a deagle onto Makin, Freddie B with the smoke, and also a flash on Doplin. So some utility to work with. And, well, middle is where they will take it again. There goes the flash. And very, very blind as Stonda op taken out of the round. ENCE now 1 man down. Yuho fighting them, not going to let them get over to Z, which means CG, they've got mid control and they're going to have to work their way into B. That's where Sunny is holding on, and he's in the site. Rotation's not yet there. Sunny's able to get his first. Will chuck a nade. Now rotation coming in, but Zart was thinking of going through mid, taking a little extra time. Good thing it's all up to Sunny. He does get 2. So that's enough. And it is Rez with the deagle of Blue Tarp. Has the bomb, but 3 people are here and ready to get him.
Yeah, wasn't much he could really do there. Good play from Yuho to just kind of make sure they couldn't get into Z and pick up the fallen op. And that really just kind of limited CG's firepower for the round, right? I mean, they were kind of forced just to go Vince because Yuho had them held. And again, it's a player for ENCE putting up a solid B hold. The first round was Stondo with the scout, which was pretty nuts. I'm surprised CG couldn't get past that. They seemed to, be doing the right things, but Stondo was just hitting some nice shots. And then there was Sunny with the M4. Holds him off, but CG back to a full buy. They actually had the op in Draken's hands for the first time as well. They'll either get him boosted or let him play A main, but definitely see CG's emphasis has been on trying to take middle. We do have a little bit of a push here from ENCE out at B, but CG has kind of gotten the favorable trades, and now they actually have a 4-on-3, and they have Zart down pretty low. So this is looking like CG's best chance to score around here. This is the best scenario they've been in so far.
Well, Yuho's pushed through. He's trying to make a play. All the terrorists are still just sitting under dropping in middle. They hadn't really fanned out and taken any of the map control that maybe they could have since they were up in numbers. Draken, though, still will continue the charge into A. He brings down Yuho, and they're being quite passive. And smartly so. They were still pushing over from B. A was opened up by Maka. They didn't quite realize, but they catch the flankers, and they don't need to do anything else. They'll win the round off of killing. And it's 4-1 in favor of ENCE. CG just now getting on to the board.
Yeah, I mean, that's just TG catching ENCE's aggression and punishing it. They caught the B push. They were able to trade that out effectively. They were able to get mid control again. And while Yuho was able to kind of push and try to make a play, Draken caught him on the fallback. So it was always TG kind of remaining a man ahead, so to speak. And I think that's really what's a difference maker in that round. And now CG will be up against a 4-spot ENCE. We do see Sunny with one of those CZs actually trying to get a little bit aggressive here at middle. Thought he was going to push through the smoke, but actually just decides against it. But all this damage is being dealt here. Alu does get 1 kill. Able to get away here. It's a 4-on-4, but health certainly favoring CG right now. Alu is bleeding out all over the place at this A bomb site. And CG, though, content just to kind of keep it slow and cautious, which has kind of been their style this entire game, right? Has been kind of just slow, methodical, work late mid control. That seems to be their philosophy so far.
Yeah, so Yuho and Alu push Squeaky. Were able to bring down Makin, who they realized is watching that area of the map. And Yuho went down. Alu, like you said, he gets out. He's low, but he was able to also take Yuho's M4A1S and bring it back and keep it in the round. And still at a place where he can do some damage. It's a hard angle behind the truck here for the terrorists to hit. Unless Draken's going to go slow out with the op. And as I say it, of course, Caster's Curse. Alu gets shot in the face by the op, so he's down. CG looking to get their second round. Doplin, nice awareness there, expecting Zart to go up the ladder. Well, they expect Sunny as well. They'll back away.
Save.
Sunny and Stonda just going to save these guns.
Yeah, I think that was just kind of always going to be tough on ENCE, right? Like, they were relying on Alu with only 20 HP and a Silence M4 to keep an eye on A. I mean, they had Sunny, I think, was mid, or one guy was in Vents, and Stonda was anchoring the B-bomb site with the NOP. And so there just wasn't really any personnel over on the A side of the map to really be able to put up any type of initial defense. I think I would have rather seen Stonda bring his op to truck and let Alu go play inside B or something. That way you have a high health player and you have an op anchoring a bomb site by himself, because I mean, anchoring B with an op kind of is not necessary when you have a guy playing inside Vents. You can just kind of watch mid, but also listen for any type of B push. When you have a low HP player, you know, you got to get him out of there. So I think that was a little bit of a mishap, but, you know, not much you can be said. It was a pretty even battle, but CG just kind of pulls out ahead in the end.
Yep, so CG's slow to start, you know, not... Actually, I mean, they started off pretty okay in the first rounds, even though they lost it, but you'll notice they got 2 bomb plants down. Unfortunately, with the extra money they had, they still were not able to get either round 3 or 4. But 2 in a row now, getting them somewhat of a freebie. They weren't able to find Sunny or Stonda, so they still have rifles, but the rest of ENCE are broken, and CG now starting to do all right on the map that was their pick. They picked Cash. ENCE went in for Dust 2, and the third map, if we need it, will be Train.
Right. And I mean, this map is pretty balanced, I think. It might even slightly favor terrorists kind of nowadays. I think I was reading some study that someone did on HLTV where they kind of showed that just maybe T rounds were a bit better on Cash. So I'm not sure where they got the stats from, if they were from pro games or what. So it's a little bit questionable. But I've always thought this map had a pretty good balance to it. So it's still kind of in anyone's ballpark at the moment. But CG is starting to pull ahead a little bit here. As they do get late mid-control again, they're going to turn into a quick beast mode.
Yeah, I think Cash can be really, really hard if you're playing against a terrorist team that's extremely confident in taking the duels and winning them. Because you can't really bolster the defenses of any one location on this map too much without completely taking someone off of A, middle, or B.
Yeah, you either have to like have the conscious decision to give up mid and realize it's given and like play the sites appropriately, not to get blindsided by highway or something like that. Or you need to actually just like full out, you know, put an emphasis on middle. But that means that you have to have such a solid side anchor, usually an opper who's going to be able to lock down the site
retakes
by himself. Yeah, or have good retakes. But I think that's kind of in line with having a strong enough opper to like get a couple of initial kills or at least stay alive and pose a threat while your rotate sets in. And I think ENCE is a team that does have that capability with Stonda to anchor a site like A or B while you emphasize mid, but so far ENCE has been prone to just give it up, you know, and it's kind of been their downfall because CG's won a lot of rounds off of having mid control so far.
Yeah, they've been good at getting out there, and again, ENCE not in the best of positions, but a couple of guns saved, and they'll try to turn that into another rifle. Drops going out every which way. FAMAS on 2 players, but Zart and Sunny also have nades. Everyone has the nades, and that can be very important, especially when we just talked about either using those smokes to get some early control or having the utility to retake onto some of the sites that you might lose. And they go heavy mid control. They've got Zart, Sunny, and Yuho all out here, and Sunny finds the first kill on Demakin.
Yeah, and they're having no idea Yuho's like on top of this. They're so focused on those 2 guys they saw at Sandbag, so if they try to apply pressure again here at middle, Yuho's just gonna be able to get some easy frags, I feel like. And yep, there it is, just the silent ninja up from above, but he only gets 1 kill actually.
Dead
so
ninja.
Now CG's a man ahead, so it didn't really work out as well as he had hoped.
Being a ninja ain't easy. As
Yeah,
Stonda...
just ask Alu. Sorry.
Whoa. Whoa.
It wasn't
Got
easy.
some
Didn't win anything with that team. I know he was really disappointed about that.
Some pent-up aggression there. Sounds like you lost some skins, Dust.
Oh, definitely not.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
do that type of stuff.
Smart to give up the angle, I think. Stonda, I mean, maybe he hit that shot first, but Draken, the first thing he checked was upper. Stonda's now dropped, and on the cross, he's going to miss Freddie B, who is still able to get into the site. Stonda had another opportunity, but will miss it. Rez, Blue Tarp, man in checker, and on the site, that's the bomb planted. I think that was Freddie B that got that crossover. Stonda trying to find Draken. Draken's actually on the other side of that checker box, it looks like, trying to avoid the spam. 2-on-3 retake. And they spent pretty much everything to stay competitive in this round. They are quite broke. Bonus is stacking up, but it will mean an eco if they don't successfully get this B site retake, and now it's just on to Standa. Rez was able to bring down Alu.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really all came down to the fact that the emphasis that ENCE tried to put on mid just didn't pan out the way that they had hoped. I mean, they put 3 guys there, which basically means that you're kind of all inning on that working, that you're able to put a stop to the mid push, and Yuho had a good opportunity to do so. I mean, no one even knew where he was. He should have gotten 2 kills out of that play for sure, and at least kept like an even 3-on-3, but he only fell after 1 frag, so that really kind of killed the momentum for the whole rest of the round, giving, you know, CG the advantage, and they were able to quickly hit B, and Stana was missing some out shots on them crossing into the site, so there was all kinds of things that went wrong for ENCE that round, but well played by CG to, you know, even though that mid was being defended, able to, you know, out-battle their opponent and put up another round, and now it's tied up 4-4, and you have ENCE on a force buy, so chance to maybe take the lead for the first time this game.
Yeah, where did they actually end up putting Standa with the op? He's over in the A site anchoring that. Sunny was in middle thinking about walking through the smoke into mid main. That didn't actually happen. Initially, a stack of CZs over in the B site, but now they've all spread out. It took a while for anything to happen. Actually, still nothing has happened, and they've transitioned the stack now to the A site. Looks like Standa almost died going for a information peak. Down to 13 HP. 1 nade over to fence, and he's pretty much dead. Start spotting out 3 over here at B. Gets a dink in, and oh, they're coming close, but Draken just pulls out the Tech 9, fighting pistols with pistols over that box. Rez able to cross. Actually, he's pushed. Never mind. Thought he was pushing CT. He's just going to get into that site. Smoke upper now, and it's ENCE full on the retake. They have handed over Alu that AWP just because Standa took that early damage, not because Twitch chat was demanding it. And whoa, Makin getting a nice nade frag there onto Sunny. But what is this? Standa and Alu quickly with the pistols causing so much damage. Now it's just Freddy B, he's like, all right, surely that my teammate takes the site. I will just hold B main and watch the quick flank. This Molotov might work out well, but he's going to throw it. Doesn't really watch what's happening. Here's the damage, though. So able to find Alu with a nice, quick 180. And Freddy B working himself into the site. Remember, Standa low from the very start of the round. And Freddy B just going in quick, relentless, no mercy, and a personal $300 on the plant.
I mean, there you have it. What can you say? CG are finally going to take the lead thanks to being able to overcome the ENCE force buy. But ENCE are able to put up a full purchase now, and they're going to have the op back in Standa's hands, who he's had overall good numbers. Maybe had a couple of rounds where he fell a bit short over on the B side of the map, but, you know, he's done his job for the most part, and he'll have another crack at it now, as it looks like he is going to be playing over towards mid here, and he will, in fact, get the opening pick. I think what he called Drock and boosting, I think that was. So there you have it. ENCE finally opening up around a man to the good for themselves.
Oh, thought Standa was going to shoot, and he would have had someone in the leg through the garage doors there of mid. As nice, not the full crisscross smokes, but they throw the smokes they need to get out of mid main, and actually even pushing through it up on that roof in mid is Doplin. He takes down Yuho. Yuho can't be happy about that. But it's even still, it's a 3-on-3. We'll favor CG in this position. They're going to slow it down now so that ENCE will second guess themselves and spread out the defense. Looks like it'll be a 1-1-1 on A, mid, and B for ENCE.
That's going to be spreading you real thin. And so when CG gather up here 3-on-1, they have a great chance to take the side. Zart's going to have to come up huge because Sunny's rotate still hasn't really set in yet. He's still sitting inside Z. He's finally beginning to come over. And Zart trying to stay alive. And he has stayed alive long enough to let Sunny come in over here. So we'll see if they can hold it out.
Zart,
Sunny
kill
has
somebody.
Gotten a kill. Please.
Please.
He did. He killed one. So, I mean, he heard you, man. He held to the call. And so ENCE tie this thing right back up at 5-all. Really well done from Zart. I mean, yeah, he didn't get a whole bunch of frags. He only got 1, but he did his job to allow Sunny to rotate, and that was the big difference maker.
It's hard to kill the blind people, right? They don't know where they're going. You can't predict their movements. Those guys are all doing the flashbang dance there on the dance floor that is B site. Zart was really struggling to lock down a kill there. Finally, he gets one, and he stayed alive long enough that the rotations came in.
That's all that matters. He stayed alive. Sometimes more important than the frag.
Stay alive.
I get some BGs in here, man.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Well, I mentioned dancing, so I figured why not? Wow, there's a lot of shooting going on. Who would have thought? As Disco Doplin will win out, he brings down Alu. So 5-on-4, and the score 5-5 now. That was a streak of, what, 5 in a row there for CG when they got into the rifle rounds. Busted up that
Yeah.
economy of ENCE, and they did a good job.
Yeah, they have. And now they have another 5-on-4 where, again, they're taking some late mid control at Draken's op, but they're also gathering up here for an A hit. So Stonda does have the op, though, on quad. It's actually the first round I've really seen Stonda see action on the A bomb site when he's had the op. So we'll see if he's going to be able to put a stop to this push, because here it comes.
I don't think Yuho's flash quite went where he wanted it to. It bounced off the forklift, but it won't matter. Still distracting there. Stonda hitting 2 op shots. Yuho was at fork. He was able to get 1. Draken knows where he is. 11 HP in the nade coming through the smoke. No time to react. And another one for ENCE. 2 in a row now.
Yeah, so we talked about that's going to be Stonda's first kind of crack at defending an A bomb site with the op, and he did his job. He got a hat trick there, and Yuho was able to pretty much stay undetected at forklift because all the attention was on Stonda. He was getting all these frags, so Yuho was able to come out and get one and just completely shut the execute down. So it's well done by those two to take the lead back after allowing CG 5 rounds in a row. They've now won 2 of their own and finally took the money away from CG. CG just forced to save here. It looks like they are going to go basically for their pistol round strat, which was just loading up the doorway and just trying to push, which is not bad. When you only have pistols, this really closes the distance on that quad player.
Oh, Rez. Trigger happy with the Glocks.
Oh, what?
But can't get anything done. Alu with the ace. Oh, he's died. Does he have a nade that's maybe still in the air? He can get that ace? No, he doesn't. Stonda.
No martyrdom. No martyrdom perks in this game, bro.
Yeah, too bad. That game's so much
But
better than ours.
And I was just talking about how that's kind of the right call. When you just have a bunch of pistols, you know, you rush the door, you close the distance on quad, and usually you're going to be able to trade them. But that was not the case that round. Alu just gets a quad kill and does not allow any of the trading shenanigans. And so ENCE now up 7-5, but CG back to buying. And, I mean, they've been really successful when they've been able to get mid control. So I would assume they would start going back to that here in the latter part of this half to try to get some more rounds on the board before we switch sides.
Yeah, the rifle rounds have actually looked very competitive. It's just either team has won an important one and got a couple freebies there. ENCE's economy collapsed a little bit when CG went for the streak of 5, but here's Freddie B once again. I mean, I feel like Cringe Gods have been getting the majority of the openers, although Yuho's going to shut that down at middle. He gets 2. Mockin's there on the trade out. It remains a 3-on-3. Freddie B, though, quite low, having got the first kill. He's down at 12 HP. A little heavier on B right now for ENCE, but I imagine that one of those men is going to slide over into middle.
And I think the big story is that none of ENCE's B aggression has ever worked. Like Freddie B or whoever has been there has been able to catch it every single time. Luckily, some other players here, mostly Yuho, kind of stepped up and still evened it back out to give his team a chance. As Zart tries to peek mid, takes a lot of damage, but does get the intel that CG is certainly there. And now we see them drifting towards B. Stonda does have his op inside the site here, but he's not going to have any help just yet.
Well, Stonda from Headshot Ledge able to get 1. Maybe not enough. It's still going to set up a retake situation. There's 1 nade out, and okay, there it is. Zart finds it, and now another one. Yep, 2 incendiaries were available. Firing off the back of that site. Yeah, they're out now, though, unfortunately. Let's drop some.
Did he just try to plant and got hit by the fire expanding? Is that what happened there?
Yeah, I think
he did. I think he tried to plant and the fire expanded its last little bit and tagged him, so he had to stop and step out, and that's whenever he got picked up there by the checkers player.
It's Valentine's Day. The fire just wanted to reach out and touch somebody, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there you go. 8-5 for ENCE, so it's like kind of a story of both teams having big round winning streaks, but ENCE is going to take place here at the end, where I guess it matters most. And now CG again on just some upgraded pistols and armor. So going to favor ENCE, but they're going to go for that strong mid control, and they do have it.
Yuho locking it down and stopping their progress into the vents. He finds one, does a bit of damage to the others, should make the B defense easy. Oh, Rez, no! He peeks out, finds someone's backside, but no bullets in the CZ, and then he gets cleaned up. Draken watching that smoke completely blinded. And actually, ENCE didn't even push through to chase, but they've got Alu here in mid, who has pushed through. He'll find Draken. Team Ace on the round as they clean it up. That's 9-5 going into the last round of the first half.
So now all of a sudden CG's mid control isn't panning out as well. And it's mostly been Yuho, man. Like the way he's played Highway, the way he's been able to cut off players trying to go through vents, or whether he's been able to kind of re-peek out and kind of even the odds back up when CG begins to take a man advantage, he kind of equalizes it pretty quickly. So definitely a good play out of him, though he's not the top frag, but he certainly had a huge impact in a lot of these latter rounds. Obviously, Stonda's op has also been quite good. He's been averaging 1 or 2 frags a round in like the last 4 or 5 rounds that have been played. So he's certainly also been a big influence here for ENCE. We're in the last round of the half, and CG, again, just kind of spreading out, looking for picks, but all they've found is a lot of damage on Draken.
And they've got Yuho in a very powerful spot in A.
First time it's been used,
yeah,
too.
but to say, first time it's been used, and they do it on the very last round. And, you know, the first time this comes out, it almost always works, so I like that idea.
The only way it doesn't is if you come up highway with a lot of numbers and spot it out before your A main hits, but that's not going to be the case, it doesn't look like.
Yeah, mid control still belonging to ENCE in full. You got, I believe, Sunny in the vents, maybe just in checker, and then also Stonda still watching middle with that op from the Z connector. Yuho looking for feet of either Draken or Freddy B. And, well, Molly goes out, so he definitely knows people are still in A main. He's trying to find those toes, but he can't do it. Now everybody making their way over, so this is the spot to be in for Yuho and the player to have here. These counter flashes making CG's life extremely difficult. Flash gonna go out, Yuho quickly turning, they check it right away. He goes down first, Alu gets a nade kill, and he'll push up to forklift. Draken completely blind, and Alu's gonna get everything done. He uses an A4, he's got more bullets, he finds a 4K.
And I think that the way that played out is the perfect illustration of why sometimes the forklift smoke can be your worst enemy as a terrorist. Because usually when you put a smoke somewhere, that usually means you're gonna like not take a look at it. You almost treat it like it's a temporary wall, and so you kind of just turn your attention elsewhere. What's there, it's like trying to get into the site, trade out quad and fence, make sure you can get the bomb plant and get in post plant. But so many CTs use that smoke to swing around the front of forklift and backstab you as you're still trying to take the site. And that's exactly what Alu did, and you saw the repercussions of it there. I think he had 3 or 4 kills on the round from that play, which, you know, locked it up for ENCE, and now they're up 10-5. So they've really done some good work there. And thanks to all the viewers out there. We're almost at 10K, so we definitely appreciate all of you for tuning in. Of course, we do have an NA match going on later tonight, and this will be the channel we use for all of Season 9 of Pro League, so be sure to follow it up because you'll catch a lot more CSGO over here in the next few months.
That you will. Into the pistol round now of the second half. ENCE going over to the T side now. And what will CG do? They've got their utility, the nade, and the kit on to Mockin, and Mockin will be actually playing middle. So they're going to try to rotate that kit to the site where it's needed. And, well, they found where that is. The bomb's been dropped here by Freddy B. Doppelin also helping out as they both push Squeaky, closing it behind them, expecting now the other attack from A main to start flanking them, but not the case. They're still trying to work up. They've backed off. They want to get that bomb, and it's very much under the control of these guys. Well, a little less now. Freddy B on 1 HP. That nade, even a CSGO nade, more than enough to take him down. And Doppelin in the fight of his life. Can't win it. A lot of body shots and $1,500 for Yuho as they try to get back into this. Open up the door, and, well, it's not DMX, but Draken who's there, and he's delivering headshots.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe they didn't get the bomb plant, but they got that extra $1,500 for an ifrag, so that makes up for it a little bit, I guess. Unfortunately, that's just one individual, though, and not the whole team, but they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to be, okay, just go ahead and get the AK. We'll Tech 9 Force up here, and we'll have even a little bit more added to the typical Force buys you see on second rounds without a bomb plant. So let's see. I mean, Yuho's been pretty good. Can he be good this round and try to break this half? Or can CG get that 3-0 pattern that you'd expect to see? They know the AK's out now for sure. Draken's heard it ringing out here at middle, so they know what they're up against.
All right. Yuho is able to get out to the white box. There is actually someone that just jumped on the coil, and that flash, it wasn't even really full blind, but distracts Freddy B enough that he starts to slide off, and Yuho peeks out at the perfect time. So highway and mid control to ENCE, and they're coming up quick. Bomb and one more in A main. They're going to have to deal with Rez at the truck. Actually, everyone's going to have to deal with Rez at the truck. He's in a very good position. If he can only just find a frag, and there he does. He gets one. Game of whack-a-mole. Rez will win, but Alu quickly coming in to put him out of his misery.
And picks up the M4 as well, but gets taken down pretty quick, and it's still a 3-on-2 for CG, but the AK is still up for Yuho, and I think the bomb is planted for him. Yes, it is. It's out in the open, So this is still going to be very difficult for CG to retake, as well as Stonda being up, you can span through door. But a nice flash comes in, but ENCE responds anyway. He gets the kill now to 2-on-2. I think ENCE might just do it, man.
Yeah, this is going to be big. Stonda trying to... Oh, but the aim punch is too much.
Try.
Just wants to kill the man defusing, but Makin will not let it happen. He says, try to aim. You can't.
If only he could have just got that kill on the diffuser, maybe, and still pulls that out. ENCE certainly did his job, but CG's just a bit better there. So they toughed that one out. They sweat a little bit, but they still were able to secure it in the end. And so they are going to start closing that gap on the scoreboard right away here in the second half. ENCE is going to force up again. Not going to, take any saves or anything to build up the economy. They know that CG's bleeding out. They know money's low over there. They forced a lot of rebuys. So if they can just break their opponent, they'll eventually force CG to double save. And that's the goal. And there's the headshot that they needed to start it off the right way.
So, Sunny, that was a pretty nuts shot over the boost. Looks like he's got a Molotov into the vents as well. Yeah, he does. That will delay his approach through. He'll have to wait for it to run out. Now it does. He's in there with the Deagle, and they are going for that force buy, trying to break that money of CG. Huho, can he find the one Deegs? Nade into the checker box, and they will check it. No one's there, but I like that. That's a conscious effort for them because, it's a spot you don't check. You can lose you around real fast. It's up to Doppelin on the B site.
They see him cross?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, they must expect it because the fire was down. He'll see Zart very blind. Everyone very blind there. Does huddling for warmth over there in headshot ledge. And the spray, it's going to be hard to control and just hit those headshots. He's able to get one of them, but ENCE have taken control of the site and maintain a man advantage. Sunny also with an AK. And even Incendiary left to flashbang on Alu.
It's going to be so hard for CG to retake here. If they can't find a kill soon, they may just be forced to back off and save these rifles because, again, their money is pretty much dead in the water. But they're still going to commit to this, at least for now. Moken trying to find something, but as this bomb ticks away more and more, they're going to be forced to back off, and not a bad call again. They're just going to have maybe upgraded pistols around these two rifles, and that's going to be it. So absolutely necessary to retain whatever firepower they could going into the next round.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that money in just a moment. Oh, Alu, nice MVP for planting the bomb. Everyone's favorite MVP status. Yeah, saving the guns. They don't really have much to drop. I wonder if they will just force armor pistols on the others or go in for a full save. They've just been reset. I think buying here could be quite risky.
I mean, you're going to double save anyway, right?
Yeah.
Unless you win this round, so I guess you might as well.
Yeah,
Plus,
but
money's still low on ENCE, too, so you could still
That's
punish them
true.
if you're able to pull this round out. There's definitely pros and cons to this, is my point. You could really see both arguments.
Yeah, and they are starting to fall behind. ENCE now into the double digits, so they want to try to close that gap sooner rather than later. Although even now, spending this money and double saving will result in still a rifle round with a little bit less put into it. As Molly over to Fork, going to try to clear that out. No CTs were playing it. Rez has gone up to the catwalk. We've got Freddy B in sight, and that's Mokin or Mokin there creeping up from the truck side. Catwalk gets smoked off. So a great job, a quick take. Freddy B trying to hide out in the smoke, but all of his teammates have fallen, so I think the jig might just be up, and now they've hit him. He's taking damage, and I think that's Yuho from behind that is able to get the kill there. Zart finds 2, Yuho finds 2. It's 12-7, and CG are extremely broke.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, they were going to have to save this round no matter what, so it was worth the risk, I suppose, in the last round. Just didn't pay off, but I'll be back to buying in the next. But will it be a little too late? ENCE are going to be up 13-7 most likely before they're able to make another purchase. And, I mean, just look at the scoreboard here. It really tells it all. Everyone on ENCE performing well, all positive KD. Several guys in the mid to high teens or low 20s. Meanwhile, on CG, not a single player positive, many of which, quite negative. And so you have, like, ENCE firing on all cylinders, and no one's really stepping up for CG.
The bomb's already gone down. The CG make for a gamble stack, which I like. It's just unfortunate that it doesn't pay off for them as they were in the wrong spot of the map. It's not even like ENCE did much to get information and avoid it. They were content to go into B, and if they ran into the stack, they were going to deal with it, confident that they could overrun it. But don't even have to. Now Alu's just getting some one-tap practice out here in this CT spawn hallway. So CT's holding out in middle. Now they've got Stonda on the other side to deal with. It's been a bit of a problem. He's going to bring down both of them. Finds Freddie B. Who takes him down with the P250. And oh no, caught on the reload!
It's empty, bro.
Yeah,
it's empty,
that's
man.
Unfortunate.
Oh,
Surviving
yeah,
with that would have been pretty nice. And okay, they're going to go in for a rifle round here, but there will not be much
this
utility.
is their last chance.
Yeah, and if they don't win here, this almost secures the game for ENCE.
Well, it definitely
map,
secures
rather.
the map point for ENCE, right? Maybe they could play for OT on their next full buy, but obviously it would be to their favor to make this one work, because this is going to be their last, you know, big even gun round opportunity they're going to get. We are going to see ENCE going heavy mid control. Sunny able to take it, but it is CG from the vents and from Highway being able to stay a couple of minutes ahead now, so they may have just done it.
Yeah, Stonda gonna, of course, be dangerous with the op. There's still only one man in B, but quickly you got, I believe that's Doplin up in the vents ready to jump through, and I don't know how that flash doesn't do a little bit more to Draken. Now it's all gonna fall onto Zart. We will quickly check the vents. That was the right idea, but that player was holding back. Nice fadeaway molly to cover upper and even planting in the smoke. So he gets the bomb down. Zart, nicely done. Still left with a 1 versus 3. It will not be easy. He drops into headshot and surprise! It's Freddie B. Just flying through the air with the mouse 1 held down.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't really expect Zart to win that one. If anything, he needs to be commended for even finding a bomb plant, because in a 1v3 in the B bomb site, with people already, you know, have flanked you vents and sitting in heaven and CT spawn, it's going to be tough when they're all there to find a way to get it down, but he did. That gets a little bit extra money. Not that they were hurting for cash on ENCE, but it helps pad it a little bit more, make sure that they get a full nice buy here with full utility and everything. So now this is the big round for ZG, right? Because yeah, they won, they avoid the money reset there, they avoided ENCE going to map point for free, but now if they lose this, you're in double save territory, and likely ENCE just wins from that point, right? So this is kind of the next big step you have to take. Definitely can't breathe any sigh of relief just yet if you're CG.
Definitely not. Let's see. We got one man in vent. Is anyone even playing at B? We got Freddy at Sandbags, Draken. Okay, he's watching B, and Mawkin is in the vent. So that's what they've got set up. And the Molotov's going to go and drop one off. Now 2 are onto the B site. And they did have the men actually waiting for the helpless victims that may or may not have been on fire dropping out of vents. But Sunny and friends were unable to tag any of them that much. Definitely didn't find a kill. Mawkin just down to about half HP. And Squeaky Door open, so Alu making noise, trying to take some attention over to this A site.
Yep.
Spotted
exactly.
res.
Even gets the pick, so
Don't
that's even better.
that.
Not only did you pull the attention, but you also got the frag. It's going to give him a quick 5-on-4, and it was pretty much for free, right? Took no damage, and they still have Moken very, very low here on the B-bomb site. So they're certainly causing a lot of stress here on CG. And Alu, he might just step out and find another one. Just waltzing out. No, Domplin does catch him. Double op set up here from CG in effect, but they're going to be a B hit, but everyone's actually here, so this actually isn't too bad for CG. They're in the right spots.
And they mollied the vents, but keep in mind Freddie B, who was still out in middle, has just taken control back into the vents. And it may not matter. He gets 1 kill, but now that they know he's here and still has the man advantage, bomb going down for Checkers, so Zart is more than likely going to want to try to take control of Checkers back. Freddie B not wanting to give it up, and Doplin, he's going to go into upper with that op, trying to find somebody, and it will be Yuho in sight. Well, right up on the boxes, just showing his head there. And Freddie B, unfortunate, he once again finds himself hopping around in the mid room and unready to fight a terrorist.
I mean, it's kind of a tough one to watch because CG were in the right spots. They had 3 of their remaining 4 players all in the area of B, which is where the attack was commencing at. And Freddie B did his job in the vents, but his 2 players inside B fell with no frags. So it's basically ENCE trading like 3 for 1 basically over in the B bomb site. So it's never going to do you any good. Now CG, yeah, their money is pretty much in the dumps. They're going to force what they can here to try to contest ENCE, who are going for map point. But if this doesn't work out, they'll have even less to work with when ENCE goes for the W. So it's definitely dire straits right now for CG, and they're already a man down this round. Stonda catching the counter boost with the op. and Sunny finding Draken as well. So it seems like the final dominoes are beginning to fall here on Cash, Joey.
Yep. As the swag 7 from Rez. Maybe. He's in an alright spot playing our forklift. He's in a bit of a pickle if Alu decides to go out of Squeaky, which he has been every single round. Going to go for a bit of a pre-fire through the door. Alu does not have a Molotovs, so he can only throw that nade into the forklift. Molotovs over to quad and fence. Yuho is going to check the boost spot, and that will allow Makin to take him down. Rez making sure no one's on that highway run-up. Now he's going out with the Mag 7, and he's able to bring down Stana with a headshot somehow from that distance. That's going to drop the bomb. He even does us 85 damage over to Sunny, and the bomb's being planted. Did he hear it? Oh, I don't know if he did. There was a lot going on. He was somewhat flashed. Maybe ears still ringing from a nade. Doplin really trying to stand tall, and the site finds two, but it's not enough. Zart will stay alive. He'll keep the op up with all those 3D Max stickers on it, and it's 15-8.
And now at this point, you just got to think that whatever fuel was left in CG's tank is pretty much evaporated. They're just running on fumes at this point. Just some upgraded pistols in the FAMAS, and certainly favors ENCE. Now, this is just map 1, folks. We do have at least one more map after this to go for the EU placement, and we do have NA going on later on this evening, so don't go anywhere just yet, because we are going to come out into what could be the final round, and it's looking even more that way after Zart takes that opening pick at middle. 5-on-4 here now for ENCE very early on in this round.
Yeah, and of course CG not bringing in much weaponry in this round. Just the pistols. Makin will connect one with the Deagle, but it's not the Huandig that he was really hoping for. Rez has spotted him. He's got that FAMAS. Yuho's going to go down, though, for free. Doesn't even fight back. Not expecting Freddy B to be up on the catwalk. Must have been playing Fork and hopped up from that direction. And now he's earned himself an AK, but it's still going to be a 2 versus 4 retake. Only 2 flashes, and neither of these guys have kits. Surely this is an impossibility, but they've got no choice but to go for it.
Yeah. It is unfortunate, but it's what they have to work with here. We do see them gathering up. Freddy B does get a kill. Rez also gets it, so they've actually got into a 2-on-2. This is now winnable. Bon is planted so openly, though. Going to be really hard to stick this defuse and actually get it down. Yeah, I mean, the planning location is just so hard to deal with here. And GGs are already ringing out, and yeah, it is in the books. Freddy B does get a little bit of a parting gift with the frag. Yeah, just maybe that's what the B stands for. Maybe you're on to something.
Oh, man. That was crazy. The fact that they even killed all 4 of them is crazy. And that means that ENCE was getting maybe a little bit sloppy, given a lot of peeks there.
I think that last death was like they knew they won the round.
Yeah, the last death doesn't matter, but the first 2, I mean, they used both their flashes coming through upper. They took the man down at the first missile crate there, or I just call it oranges because it looks like the one on Inferno. The first box on the B site. And then, you know, someone's peeking out of checker, too. There was not really a crossfire there. Both of them just get wrecked. And then it comes to the 2-on-2 where they were actually losing in HP in terms of ENCE's perspective. But the fact that Alu had made the play and pushed through and came out upper, they were just not expecting that. So,
right. Yeah, so I mean, map 1 goes pretty heavily in favor of ENCE. It started out pretty close. I mean, you look there on the scoreboard, rounds 1 through 10, I guess you could say. We had a tie game at 5-all. So I mean, it was actually CG who were in pretty good control of the game once the rifles started getting bought there in the first half on their terrorist side, but eventually ENCE kind of started putting a stop to their mid control, started, you know, hitting their shots, and eventually closed at half 10-5. And in the second half, I mean, CG made us think maybe for a second, made us believers for a moment when they won pistol and started closing the gap on the scoreboard, but then ENCE just kind of steamed ahead, you know, reset their economy in the 6th round, the second half, and that pretty much killed it there for CG. When you look at the scoreboard, you can also kind of see what we're talking about here. I mean, you know, most of the fraggers for CG were not even to the bottom fragger events. You know, Zart with 14, you got 3 guys below that for CG. Only really Freddy B and Disco Doplin even getting close to positive. Meanwhile, you got 3 guys dropping 20s on ENCE, plus you got Sunny at 19. So it was really an ENCE that was firing on all cylinders, and a CG who just didn't really have the firepower they needed, I feel like. And going over to Dust 2, our next map, if that pattern kind of holds,
it only gets harder.
That 2-0 prediction that you mentioned might be accurate.
It's going to get so much harder on Dust 2. ENCE look absolutely fantastic when they've played on Dust 2 thus far, except for that one kind of weird game they had against Penta. But that's all coming up after a quick little break here in CEVO Season 9, where we've partnered with the GFINITY, and we're also back on Twitch. So make sure to give the channel here a follow. That's twitch.tv/playcevo. I'm Helium. With me is Dust, and we'll be returning with Map 2, Dust 2, after a quick break. So stick around.